Hi, this is Matt with the Intergalactic Herald. Welcome to my Star Atlas Week in Review podcast. This is podcast number 182, and the articles or videos mentioned can be found on my website at intergalacticherald.com. Just look for weekly recap newsletter 230. So just a quick summary of things that's happened this past week in Star Atlas. Pretty much a standard week, so it was just the Atlas Brew, so I'll be going over that. But before I get to that, just wanted to remind you again about my Star Atlas projects. You can check out my website, intergalacticherald.com. It's a great Star Atlas resource website with guides, directories, recaps, a Star Atlas Discord announcement newsfeed. However, I will admit, everything's pretty much outdated because the game has kind of moved on and we're waiting for the next release. So, but again, hope to update with more things once the game is released, hopefully. Also, I do have a Star Atlas merch store. You can check that out at intergalacticgear.com. Also, would love to get together with other Star Atlas gamers who aren't joining guilds. You can, if you're interested in that, please check out intergalacticcoalition.com. So as I mentioned this past week, the main event in Star Atlas was the Community Atlas Brew. A lot of information was passed along. First was the fleet rentals was, I think, released or soon to be released in the version 2. So if you haven't heard about fleet rentals before, basically it's the concept where you own a fleet and then you can rent it out to someone else. And so seems to be a while now since that first version came out. There's now a version 2. However, I will admit I wasn't paying too much attention, and partly it's just because I didn't get a chance to use the previous version. So, but if you want to listen to the entirety of that presentation, you can check out my YouTube channel, which has the recording of that. So just go to intergalacticherald.com, or you can search for that on YouTube. So, a couple of things that was mentioned. There's about 700 fleets currently rented in the what's now being called the Legacy program, which sounded like isn't going away immediately, but excuse me, new fleets won't be able to be rented. I'm not sure. And then many things were mentioned on the new version 2. It also will integrate in with the other Star Atlas tool Raiden systems. So again, I just haven't done the fleet rentals, so I'm not really sure what's going on. But anyways, it's great that's happening. Kind of was mentioned as a side topic, because they were talking about if they could rent fleets to people you know. And so there was a brief discussion in the Atlas Brew about having encrypted chats. I guess chat was something they had put into the HoloSim product, and definitely there are a lot of interest to have that in different capacities within the new C4 version, both for like guild chat or DAC chat and even person-to-person chat. But again, because it's on a blockchain, those could all be actually encrypted, so you could actually just communicate via your wallet address, which is actually kind of cool because you don't have to give out any personal information. So then there was a segment in the Atlas Brew on updates to the UE5. The developer was working on that, was showing something. So he was showing, I think he called it base building, but again, the idea that if you have a claim stake in the game and you place that on a planet, you can then build a base around it. And there's like the center part, and then there were all these kind of modules that kind of grew out from it. So that was kind of interesting. They also mentioned that there are many multiplayer bugs that they're trying to address. However, with just the short staff, they just don't have enough people, and yeah, they just don't. So one thing they're actually trying to do is upgrade to a later version of the UE5 engine, and that will actually provide what's called MCP access. This is a sort of related to AI, but it's just a way to communicate, and they're hoping that some of their AI systems now would actually be able to help them find some of these multiplayer bugs. So should be an upgrade to UE5 soon, but they're admitting it will be buggy. But again, it gives them the option to connect some of their AI tools and see if they can find those multiplayer bugs. And then the last segment was kind of an update on the C4 public release version. They said they have tackled a lot of bugs. They're actually letting some of the UI user interface bugs kind of hold so they can do a kind of full pass in the next phase, then try to fix some of those now. Mainly they're working on crashing bugs or action bugs or something like that, but not necessarily the user interface. They are hoping to move to the kind of what they're calling the phase 3 parts of that, and they mentioned some of the things that have been brought up in the past, like the diplomacy module and other things. But I highlighted a few when I was taking notes. They definitely want to, in this phase 3, balance the game. So this would be like actual real numbers for resources and different things like that. So kind of put all the real numbers in. They also mentioned they want to spread out the resource locations to be, again, where they want them. They'll kind of restrain mining to actual mining things, or if you add a mining attachment, or can't remember what they called it, to your ship, but otherwise, ships shouldn't mine. And they did want to increase the distances to actually make them, again, more of the realistic things. So sounds like, again, they're definitely moving forward on many issues and now getting into the kind of the fine tuning. So yeah, so that's pretty much the Atlas Brew. Again, if you want to listen to its entirety, I do have a recording on mine, or the Calico Institute has a recording also. So a couple of different places you can find that. So I'll move to my next segment, kind of talking about my thoughts on the state of Star Atlas from this past week. Fleet rentals, that was great news to hear that's still in development. Again, it was kind of supposed to be kind of one of these must-have features. It was hoped that this would get a lot more of the people with their ships that don't want to be active to rent them out and then earn passive income. 700 fleets is nothing to say is nothing, but the feature definitely, not that it became compromised, it was just that once people rented a fleet, nobody else had a chance to get it. So it did seem like it kind of dropped off the radar of a lot of people and kind of just fizzled out. But that could just be a correspondence of just less people playing too. So, but long term, definitely feels like a very needed product so that people can do that. So it's great. There's a kind of outside developer who nevertheless is working with the team to bring that out there. So that's cool. Encrypted chat. Yeah, I mean, definitely the idea of just having to use your wallet address, which is kind of public anyways, to do chat. I mean, that is kind of a very clever feature. And yeah, I mean, again, it seems like almost like, why not? But yeah, I think it would definitely open up a lot of things. The UE5 base building, I do admit when I do my recordings of the Atlas Brew, I'm not live watching them, so the screen's really small. I'll kind of try to see if there's a way to, I don't know if Discord allows that, but something so you can make those full screen automatically or something. But anyways, it kind of gave me a lot of thinking about how you build bases in RTSs. I mean, it was very graphically, it just felt right. So hopefully, I'm assuming they're getting some inspiration from other sources. So yeah, just plopping down and connections. Yeah, just it was really cool. So. And then finally on the C4 PTR, feels like it's progressing well. Nice to get an update, but again, not a lot of details. But again, this isn't to build new things, it's to get these things to work. So yeah, so that was great to get that update. And yeah, everything seems to be progressing as they hope. So yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts on the state of Star Atlas. As far as my journey, I'm still, again, in the current version of Sage, Starbase, just mining away copper ore, trying to get like 50 million as part of the recipe needed for the Mamba X. So yeah, just kind of plugging along there. Nothing to report. Just keeps working. So anyways, so that's pretty much my what happened this past week in Star Atlas. So again, please check out my website, intergalactichero.com, for very many outdated resources on Star Atlas. Star Atlas merch store, intergalacticgear.com, and a Star Atlas non-guild guild community at intergalacticcoalition.com. Other than that, that was the week in Star Atlas. I'm Matt with the Intergalactic Herald. Have a great week ahead.